So the thing, I mean, the information has been out there. As Lizelle said, it's very interesting how it came up because the policy went to Parliament. The minister laid it a few weeks ago, but he received it so long ago, and he made it available to all the media
It's
holders and
cabinet.
everybody. So why is it that is now an issue, and why is it that this is the only part of the policy that everyone is looking at?
Because it's obvious that somebody looked at it and said, "Here, well, here's something." I don't think it came from the government side, obviously not, because it's bad publicity for the government. But obviously, somebody looked at it and said, "Well, here's an issue which could probably cause some votes for the other side." So, you know, it would be interesting how the minister spins himself onto this web. That's the
Well,
only.
not well for Lisa, same way she was saying it's a red herring. It may just distract from something from like Jason mentioning from the other party because I saw a lot of things with a lot of people in my Facebook feed screaming that the DLP ain't getting their vote because of this. So I had to wonder
Exactly.
about the publicity of it because it didn't seem like the way the proper way that you would introduce a concept like this to young people, especially people who quarrel about anything.
Yeah, I would really wonder how those people that were saying that the DLP ain't getting their votes, I really, really wonder how many of them were voting anyhow, huh? But I could
Yeah.
be wrong about this.
Well,
Yeah, people, we are pretty much coming down to the time in terms of, well, we allotted an hour and a half a discussion, so I really don't want it to go too much beyond that. But, I mean, I know a lot of us don't have the answers. I guess we've been looking to Damien for them. And to a lesser extent, Peter, we've talked about how it can or can't be enforced. We've tried to imagine how they will possibly enforce it. We've talked about how they could possibly implement it. If we're gonna at least sit down and have a discussion on it, what do we want to close with? What do we want? I don't know. I don't know. I can't say that this discussion is going to lead to any change as far as that's concerned. But what are the closing thoughts that we want to have on this topic? And forget the cutting bush and them kind of things.
But let me go first. I think for me, again, the way the document is worded, I think that is the major flaw in the document. If it's supposed to be voluntary, fine, and not mandatory,
Barely
fine.
hearing you, Jason. Barely hearing
Sorry,
you.
the way the document is worded, for me, I think that is the major flaw. And I think what would need to be done is to go back and reword it. We talked about what is in there, but we have to ask who was the brainchild of the document. And I think that person must actually be a bit removed from young people's age. So I think the minister and whoever else his team would need to go back, reword it in a youth friendly way. I recognize that the words mandatory, positive sanctions, and the point which Ramona raised about saving government money, all of that I think is what led to the whole uproar. All right, and finally, I think my suggestion would be, in some ways, have the quote unquote positive sanctions by saying if you want to get to if you want university funding and that sort of stuff, then show that you've given back X amount of hours to whatever organizations that, and then creating a culture of volunteerism. I think creating a culture of volunteerism is the way to go because you're not going to get the majority of young people.
Creating the culture of what? Sorry, volunteerism?
Volunteerism. Did you mention, Corey? Did you hint to that? I think that's the way to go.
But from a younger age, though.
No, you can start from now. You can start from now.
You think you can start with the secondary school students?
Yeah.
Them so that you was teaching stuff.
Boys, that's a challenge.
Okay. All right, so we've heard Jason. Jason wants amendments made to the language that's used in the document, and so on. Who's next? Parting shots in terms of what you want coming out of this discussion.
I would just I would just appreciate more transparency for people to be clearer about what it means. If you're going to say something is mandatory at a national level, what are the penalties? There's an inherent contradiction between no force or compulsion and mandatory. So just be transparent about what the penalties will be, if there will be fines or whatnot. Just be clear about what it looks like, and just spend some more time figuring out all the logistics with regards to the implementation. Because if we want this to be a positive exercise and not one that's exploitative, and one that actually inspires the spirit of volunteerism within the youth, then you really, really have to revisit the drawing board and have these discussions and be very clear about the outcome. Not just get all idealistic about what people should do and people should give back. That's all well and good, but we still need to hammer out the fine points of it so that it is a positive venture and people aren't hurt by it.
Well, I'm just wondering how you can be hurt by giving back, but I guess that's a discussion for another time. What I would part with in saying is that is a policy document. So when the policy document goes to Parliament, then the government proposes the action points that they want to work on, and then they start building on it. So if they're going to pull out the National Youth Service, then that's pulled out, and then the technocrats design what the service will look like, how it's going to be mandated, how it's going to be managed, and the procedure, and it goes from there. And then you have another debate on structure, and a board or entity is created to manage it. As I said, when I was in the meetings, I saw no issues with it. It was sent around. As many persons who wanted to see the document were able to see the document to make recommendations. Francis, last is for you, because if you had concerns with the wording, you had ample opportunity to write and express those concerns.
I did in a
So
broad
I would give you two lashes for that. At the end of the day, I would like everyone to read the document in entirety and to understand that before there was no national youth policy, a youth policy binds the government to certain things for young people and allows young persons to measure what it is the government is doing for them. And as I say, young people need to be, not necessarily, you don't have to be a member of a political party, but be aware of what's going on around you. There's no way that a document like this should be before Parliament and young people are not saying, oh, but I didn't know about that, I wasn't aware. But these things affect you. So, the onus is on you to make yourself aware. And, I guess for those of us who are in the youth movement and, volunteering stuff, I guess we have to push even harder to make sure that the persons that we seek to represent and work with, that they too are aware. So I would say I give myself two lashes and say, what, I really need to push a little more. That's it.
To jump in here in between, just to link up what Patrice was saying at the end with what Damien was saying. Damien, you can't expect to educate the people, the young people, and then not have them ask questions when they bring out something like this. They're going to ask questions. So when she said about being hurt, that's what she's talking about. They want to know everything that's involved and how they're going to be affected. So we've heard Jason, we've heard Patrice, then Damien. Lisa wants to give her part of thought.
I guess this just seems like it's going to be one of those things where, for example, every year around March or April, we discuss why we should get rid of the 11+ exam. So from the way this discussion seems to be going, it seems like this will be a big furor, and then it'll die down, and then in another year or two, we'll talk about it again. And so, for right now, it sounds bad, but that's probably how it seems. It's kind of like that. That's how I'm perceiving it. It'll be like, oh yeah, this came up, and then a year from now we'll still be talking about it, because unless I see some sort of implementation or how are we going about, or the issues that we kind of raised and discussed, rather than just the idealistic, oh, but it's so good to volunteer, oh, it's so good to give back to the country, how could no one want to do that? There is the flip side, and the flip side are probably some of the people who are not in here in this hangout who have, a problem about it. And as someone raised earlier too, the whole age range, I agree. I think it should be something that you need to, have, like when you're younger. You can't be telling people now at whatever age, 28, going on 28, 29, oh, this is mandatory, etc. It's just how it's been handled. The PR spin to it and stuff at this stage has been really bad, and I would say even the marketing and stuff leading up to advertising it, if a whole bunch of people in this hangout who are fairly in touch with stuff didn't know about it for whatever reason, then clearly the marketing and PR going into the process was also really bad.
Poor marketing, I'd have to agree with that. Poor marketing is selling it to the public. You want to go next, Renee?
But Damien, that's one thing clear. If you just throw ads and you realize you're not getting a response to them, it means then you're not reaching anyone. That's all I have to say to that, Damien. But yeah, like everybody's saying, implementation is the most important part for me to see how that is going to work. And once I see that, then I can say, okay, I can go agree with this, or I can go along with this or not. But as Damien said, it's also to just the policy part is only the beginning, so it's not like this is going to come into law next week and then all of a sudden we're just there saying, oh, we have to go non-more trust and be voluntary mandatory, So it's important that we stay on top of what's going on and follow it and make sure that we put our voices so that it's something that we all can live with and agree with. Whoever else wants to go.
Yeah, thanks, Renee. I think we have 5 down. We have Ramona, Maria, Peter, and
I've got a.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Question for Damien. Oh, back to that whole 11 plus issue. CXC has created an alternative to the 11 plus, which seems fantastic. And Damien, I don't know, or Jason, maybe y'all can shed light on this. They're having issues.
I hope Peter is listening to this because this is a pet topic for him.
They're having issues getting to the Minister of Education and having this rolled out. I mean, Grenada has rolled it out already. I've seen it, and it looks like a phenomenal alternative to 11 plus. I am extremely against 11 plus, but that's a whole other discussion. Damien, in terms of the marketing and PR, as Renee said, if you're not reaching your target market, then it's not serving its purpose. I offer marketing and PR. You can call me if you need any assistance. But I want to know how do I make my voice heard? This is the first that I'm hearing of this. Where do I go to make my voice heard, and where do I find out about these issues?
Julia was a rocket
and I think that was it. Yeah, I want to know how I make my voice heard and how I can find out about these issues.
Well, I think that question is best directed to the person who leads the National Youth Organization at the moment.
But you're dealing with marketing, and you've said the marketing was great. So
you mean for the I thought it was great for the national national youth policy. As I said, they tried all mediums. I think the only thing they didn't do was get a truck and drive through communities. And maybe, you know what? Maybe that should have worked. Maybe they should have done that.
Not necessarily. I mean, we have quality and then we have quantity. So we have to look at the tone of the message going out.
Here's the thing.
Etc.
There were full-page ads taken out, and all the leading newspapers. There were radio spots. There were interviews with members of the committee. Any medium that you can think of, be it one that has a youth demographic or one that has an old demographic, they were all tapped. And in all fairness to the youth policy committee and the rest of the team and so on, even when we do stuff with the youth council, we believe we've tapped all the mediums. Sometimes we have events where the turnout could really be a lot better. Sometimes people are just disconnected, and that
might I suggest here that I don't necessarily think it's the young people that are disconnected, but whenever we have advertisements, if you're saying you put out a full page ad or a radio ad, these ads are extremely disconnected. 9 times out of 10 the graphics are horrible, and let's face it, visually when we look at something, what is going to attract us to it is what we see first. So maybe you need to, and this is just a suggestion, look at how the little ads are
50%. I agree 150%, but this is one time, not because I was on the committee. I want to take me with a bit, but from a marketing standpoint, I really think that they went all out, and the minister did put place additional resources in terms of getting to the young persons, even to the point where I was fed up of going to consultations because I was like, we've really exhausted this topic. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, there will always be people who were not aware, and you can always look and say, no, what, maybe we didn't do enough. But for me, I felt comfortable that enough and more than enough was done in terms of getting the message over there. You know, what's funny is, as I said, this document would have been debated in Parliament, and no one would have cared if Barbados did not just run that one excerpt from the youth policy document. It would have gone on, and then the National Youth Board would have been created, and there might have been a strike at the Ministry of Youth because the civil service don't like when their departments become statutory boards, but that would have been it.
To some extent, just to add quickly, I think I got to agree with Damien. The minister is, like Damien, a PR beef. he does love PR, and he really did push it. Probably the issue was he pushed too much of the organization, the National Youth Forum, and
Not hearing you,
Losing you,
Jason.
Jason.
sorry. I said the minister. I kind of agree with Damien in the sense that I think they really pushed it. The problem might be that there was confusion between the National Youth
National
Forum
Youth
and the
Forum
National
and the
Youth
National Youth
Policy.
Policy.
And I
Correct.
think that's probably where the confusion came, where people saw a lot of the National Youth Forum, but I guess the policy kind of got lost somewhere in there. And if anything, that was where I believe the blunder occurred. But they did really push it in all sections of the media that pushed it.
I was confused too, and you formed to me it was like a fact. But we got Ramona left, and we got Peter right there. I think everybody else has spoken with their closing thoughts. Ramona or Peter, y'all wanna just
alright,
let
well, I'll
us
go.
know.
I'll go. I think Peter will close it out nicely. My parting thoughts are, well, like everybody. Sorry, what? Oh, my parting
Go ahead,
thoughts.
Ramona.
My parting thoughts are that are the same thing everybody was saying, that how are you going to regulate it? Because as I said earlier, I think that it's going to be like 10 people pulling the weight of the other 90 in terms of, like, if you go on 100%. I feel like people who are more invested and prone to volunteer anyways are going to be the ones out there doing it, and then the other people aren't going to be pulling their weight. And then I had another comment. Oh, right. And in terms of the quality of of volunteering, I do think that I do wonder about it, because when you think about how the level of service, how low it is per se and whatever aside, it is actually very, very terrible. And in terms of people volunteering, they just come in to give their 2 hours or 10 hours or 200 hours or whatever. I think that they're that the quality of the volunteering is gonna be quite low. I think that's pretty much I was trying to collect my thoughts, but I got distracted by everybody else saying things.
All right, cool, Ramona. I missed what you said. That is quite poor, but I want Peter. You are last up, and then I will go last, and we will wrap. Sorry.
My audio and video is not very good now anyhow, because I'm downloading something, so I give way. You go ahead.
Okay, well, I mean, I just, in terms of the marketing of this event, I don't, honestly, Damien, I don't think, I get the point that y'all basically y'all had a horse in every race in terms of the media that y'all used to put it out there, but however it was done, it was not effective. I personally remember the National Youth, the forums that y'all had to discuss the youth policy. I remember seeing those on Facebook, and that was the only place I remember seeing about them. And I think that I tried to make one, but I couldn't make it, and then the other one I forgot about for whatever reason. And probably similar things happened to other people. And also, y'all had the website, and I remember when the website was announced, but somehow the website was announced, and it wasn't really sustained in any way in terms of maintaining people's level of interest in the page. I found that the main way that the party sought, or the government by extension sought to join people, was by putting the entertainment aspect first. And yeah, well, Peter here telling me that the ads were all about, but I just remember seeing them on Facebook. But I found it, they sought to join people by introducing the entertainment aspect. For me personally, that wasn't neither here nor there. I wasn't in the island at the time. I would have gone as a matter of interest because I was involved with VYZE. But to go just to affect the atmosphere, and then from that it's supposed to flow upwards into serious discussion of policy. Because I assume that even if people got them confused, that y'all were still hoping to dovetail the two of them in terms of the youth forum and the youth policy. It just didn't connect. So I guess coming out of this discussion, I share the same concerns as a lot of people here. I think I'm the person I'm closest to in terms of how I see the issue is with you're just so dangerous. But I don't watch TV8, no, and I don't listen to the radio.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
But this is actually the main thing.
But I'm closest to Lizelle.
I was saying, do people really watch CBC, and the forms of media that we used to use, we don't. Like, all of us are on the net now.
Sorry, can I just jump in?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Maria,
Just jump in for one second.
how do you market effectively in this day and age?
All right, Jason just put in the chat a link to the National Youth Forum page, and I'm seeing an ad on it. If we're looking at the layout of the ad, you've got the print is extremely small. That's the first thing. The second thing is they've used bright colors. That's fantastic. But the second thing is whenever you have the words National Youth Forum, you're using language that young people do not relate to and they do not want to hear. So you're already alienating a large, and you've got symposium on the draft of national youth policy with the come on people.
You're gonna start reading.
This is
right
a UN document. It's not a UN document.
How could you not want to go to that as a
That's
young
what I'm
person?
trying to
You do not want a symposium airline.
What I'm trying to say is email me and I can help you out.
I have to say that the visual of the ad was very compelling. I wanted to go to this thing until, like Maria said, my eyes hit the word symposium, and I was like, well, gee, I was gonna wash my hair that day. You know?
You see, I am not going to as an excuse. If you are about your own development, then the word symposium to say something to you, and especially. No,
come on, Damien. Come on. No, that's not acceptable.
You talk it idealistically.
That's not
no,
acceptable.
it's not an argument.
If I can just
so you say to me that we educate the young people, we educate our people, and you're going to tell me, see the word symposium and national and youth. You're a young person. It's a national issue. Symposium is a discussion, and you are not going to say, well, you know what? Let me go and check it out.
I'm trying to say to you that you need to decide what your
what.
I am trying to say to you that you need to decide what your goal is. What is your goal? Is your goal to use quote unquote big words that are going to attract a certain person, or is your goal to attract a large target audience? If your goal is to attract only a small target audience, then continue to use symposium, continue to use National Youth Forum, and lay it out in the manner that it's laid out. If your goal is to broaden your target audience, then change these things up. That's my gentle suggestion.
Damien, can I have the floor?
All the time.
Damien, can I have the floor? I want to say that I talked about the people being educated, but they use it selectively. So they use it they feel like something is being forced on them. All of a sudden, you see all the education get pulled out. But my point in this is maybe y'all did it backwards. Maybe y'all should have tried to force the youth forum on them, get them upset, and then see if they would turn out. Maybe y'all should have said, if y'all don't come to this youth forum, this is what you're facing. This is going to be foisted upon you. It's up to you to come out and discuss this issue. That's how you would get people to come out.
But I agree with what Peter just typed. You cannot make symposium sound fun or sexy or something that I really want to sit through for hours and be at. Sorry.
Yeah, I am in my mid-30s and a symposium don't sound exciting to me.
There's something probably wrong with me because I get excited when I hear symposium.
But Damien, I think
you get excited when you when you see the word DEM in front of symposium or in front of anything, you get excited.
I like a symposium, I like a conference, a summit, a seminar, a workshop.
I like anything
so.
But Damien, that's because you like networking. You know there's gonna be at least free stuff. So this is why you like to go to these things, Damien. I know you.
And a goodie bye.
Fair enough. I want to wrap it up, people, because we're pushing 2 hours hard. And before I do that, I just wanted to invite everybody who is in the discussion or who's watching to the sex, the big deal forum on Saturday. Oh, I said sex, and everybody's like,
I did.
No. You just invited everybody to sex. You need to clarify.
I didn't invite people to sex. I invited people to an event which is titled Sex, the Big Deal. I'm not inviting you to sex.
Corey, you can direct them to go to our VYZE page.
Yeah, it's on the VYZE page. They deliberately posted it at the top, so anybody who's watching can head over to the VYZE page. Just search VYZE on Facebook, or you can type in facebook.com/VYZES, VYZETHIS, and you can check out that event flyer that I posted on the wall. Maria is here, not so subtly, posting about the TEDx Bridgetown TEDx Youth at Bridgetown Conference, which is coming off in 10 days, 17th of October. I would have to mention, Maria, that is it's a one-day conference, but it's also invitation only. But there is some merit.
It is, but we are live streaming. That's very important for everybody to know. We're live streaming it so everybody can join in on that day.
Oh,
see the
good.
entire conference.
You're live streaming. Okay, fantastic.
We're live streaming,
so anybody who's familiar with anybody who's watching is familiar with the TED Concept. TED Concept is coming to Barbados in 10 days, roughly, or 9 days, and I will be one of your speakers. And we look forward to that. But yeah, just to push the event, because we weren't on radio tonight, that this is Sex the Big Deal. The event is happening on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. at BB South Wings Hotel. It's going to have a talk show format, but it's intended to be totally interactive. For all of you who talk about sex, we know all of you do, even if you don't have it. For the few people that don't have it, it's an interactive forum.
All night.
It says open bar, but it does not mean it's free.
Damn it, thank you, Renee. Okay.
The bar isn't free. The event is free, but I don't presume that the bar would be. So there are going to be performances. Right. There are going to be quote-unquote sexperts, and speaking at that too, so I don't know if that makes me a sexpert.
And it's also showing films as well, right?
No,
I don't know. I didn't hear anything about films really. If there are, that would be news to me. But
no, I was wondering. I saw you post a clip.
It was intended. Yeah, there's a short. Yes, that's right. Yes, there's a short film which is also on the VYZE page. I'll repost it, and they're bringing out the continuation to that, which will be shown at the event on Saturday, 7 p.m. BB South Winds, all about sex. So if you like to talk about sex, might as well come out and do it in a structured environment, people. Structured yet informal. Saturday. And that's it. That's a wrap, people. Thanks everyone for coming. We close off this broadcast.